If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, and I am going to share some real shit you need to hear that will, without a doubt, change your life and your income. These are things that I wish were told to me decades ago and taught to me, because some of this stuff that I'm sharing with you needs an explanation and a straightforward one, so I'm highly qualified to give it. If this was shared with me and I actually listened, my net worth would at least be 20 million by now. I would have saved probably 10 years of wasted time from dealing with toxic people, situations, having no boundaries, stress, overthinking, you name it. So my job here is to now pay that wisdom forward. And hopefully you'll choose to take it, absorb it, and listen to it and run with it, and maybe share this episode with someone who you know can benefit from this information and these explanations in my true Coach Tiff way. Lesson 1, never settle. You're like, yes, I know, I've heard that before. Okay, here's what I mean by that. Never settle for a plan B life. Never settle for unacceptable behavior. Never settle for just good enough. Never settle for safe and comfortable. Never settle for, well, this kind of feels easy. You start settling in one or two places in your life, then you end up settling in all the places. And the more you settle, the more comfortable you get with settling. And then it makes it even harder and seems like a steeper mountain to climb to stop that settling. It's kind of like if you don't work out for a few months and you know you need to get back to exercising, that is way harder than if you just kept that consistency going or if you didn't let it go for as long. Settling in relationships for scraps because you don't want to be alone or you don't want to be without that friend or there's things about that person, that lover, that family member that you appreciate. So you don't want to lose those things, but you don't like these other things. You don't want to sit in the fucking middle seat of a plane, but that's what, for whatever reason you got. And that's what you got. That was all that you could get online. I don't want you settling for that. I don't want you settling for the back corner seat of a restaurant or a table that's right by the restrooms that you don't like. And what do? Well, you at least speak up and advocate for yourself. So if we use the example of the middle seat on an airplane, and I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me, especially flying Southwest when I had a change of flight at the last minute, when I was flying every week between LA and Vegas. And no, I wasn't working at the clubs. I was the CEO of a major medical company. That's the second largest dermatology group actually in the world. And I was having to go back and forth and I had a lot of clients in there. And when I was pharmaceutical, that was also my territory. So yes, I was on the regular stripper flight on Southwest from Burbank Airport, Burbank, California, the Valley, to Vegas. Stripper flight is Wednesdays and Thursdays. Shout out to my dancers, my sex workers, my strippers. I see you. I feel you. I get it. And mad props for doing what you got to do. All right. Anyway, I would get the middle seat because, of course, my lazy ass who hates getting up in the morning, I would push it to the last minute. Then I'd run into traffic. Then I'd have to change my flight. So all that'd be left is the is the middle seat. Well, Tiff don't sit in the middle seat. I'm not available for that. So what do? I go up to the counter and I say, there's got to be some other seat, a window or an aisle. I know there's always something. And I always got switched. When I go to a restaurant, they put baby in the corner. Baby don't play in the corner. I don't want to be in the damn corner. I don't need to be front and center, but don't be giving me some janky ass booth by the bathrooms. And they always move me. Maybe I have to wait a few minutes more. That's okay. But I don't settle for it, and nor should you. Now, I used to settle in other areas of my life. Some areas are easier than others, right? The middle seat, the restaurant, but with people, I have to be very careful. I can settle with people in friendships, accepting unacceptable behavior, making excuses for people, getting less emotional attention, physical attention, intellectual attention than I deserve. Don't accept it. You have to leave. And that's okay. It's painful. It sucks. But when we continue to accept unacceptable behavior in any area of our life, we end up attracting more of it because we're telling the universe, we're telling God, this is okay for me. I'm okay with this. I'm all right with this. And being that I am an employer and I was also an employer, a hiring manager and director in the corporate world, I will be straight up with you. There are employees that are very obvious where they settle for less. They'll just take the middle seat. They'll never squawk. And you know what happens? You end up not giving that person the bonus when you have only so much bonus money to give around. You end up not giving them those extra things because they're not speaking up and commanding more for themselves. It's human nature. No one is going to give handouts to the person who doesn't seem like they want the best. If you want the best, then you'll get it. If you command the best, not demand, but you command the best and you want that for yourself, you'll get it. But if you're kind of like, oh no, I got my hamburger came out and it's cold, but it's still food. I'll eat it. I know some of you are those people because I used to do that in other areas of my life and no fucking more. No more. If you don't set clear standards for yourself, you'll attract people who have none. You'll attract people who are takers instead of givers. And I mean, consciously set standards for yourself. So this would be really good for you to do mentally, or you can write it down. What are things that you no longer are going to accept in your life? You're not accepting this. You're not available for it anymore. And what are your standards? What is your absolute standard of operation in every area, in the people you work with, in your business, in your friendships, in your personal, intimate relationships, for your body, with your parenting, in every area? What are your standards? Now, you're going to have some people in your life who have none, who are going to say things to you like, your expectations are too high, your standards are too high. Oh, all of a sudden you're this, that, and the other. Because if you went from having no clear standards to all of a sudden having them, it's going to be shocking to people. But you have to stick with those standards. You have the right to change those at any time on any day. And just because you have people squawking back to you, that doesn't mean you all of a sudden change your standards. What are those? One of mine is your actions and your words must match. And if they don't, because you have to always leave space for people to be, a human being, because we're all flawed. If that person is not able to take humble accountability for when they mess up, I'm not available for it. I will not allow it in my life. And that doesn't mean I don't send that person love. It doesn't mean I don't care about that person. I'm not doing it, but I have to check myself and make sure whatever my standards are, that I'm in integrity and I'm living those standards. So once you set what you're not available for, I will no longer accept people who talk nasty to me or talk down to me or don't support my dreams. Maybe that's one of yours. Then you have to look at yourself. Are you acting in a way to other people and what you want in return. So in this case, am I supporting other people's dreams? Am I supportive? Do I make snarky, passive aggressive comments? So you're going to have to clean up your side of the street too. And there's no way you don't have stuff to clean up. We all have stuff to clean up. Straightforward, straight up. It's unavoidable. So set those clear standards. Another one of mine is integrity. Full integrity. I don't accept liars in my life. I don't accept people who, again, can't take a look at themselves and see their shit and work on it. People who don't follow through with promises. No, that doesn't work for me. Not a fan, not happening. And therefore, I have to follow through. Because if that is a standard of mine, and again, I leave room for people to make mistakes as long as they own up to them, I have to take an action if someone is not fitting the bill, which is why most people, including my former self, avoided setting those clear standards. One, no one ever explained it to me in this way, but I didn't really even set super strong boundaries, because if I did, then I'd have to adhere to them. And there was part of me that knew if I set these standards, if I set these boundaries, most everyone in my life had to go. And guess what? At one point in my life, and it wasn't that long ago, 7.5 years ago, everyone except one person had to be removed from my life based on the standards and boundaries that I was implementing in my life. And it sucked, but I had to do it to save myself. All you're ending up doing when we are people pleasing, settling, having soft standards, we are slowly being pulled down by the people and situations and circumstances around us. And that's why you're exhausted. That's why you're not feeling fulfilled. That's why everything feels so hard. And it doesn't matter if you have I don't care if you have millions in the bank or you're in debt. I don't care if you're 65 years old or you're 20. I don't care, male, female, gender preference, doesn't matter to me. This is across the board of you being a human being. Lesson 3, divine timing. Divine timing is real. 1,000%. It is absolutely real. And here's the thing with divine timing. We try to play God. We say, I want this. I want my business to take off. I want more clients. I want more money. I want this many people to buy this. I want to meet my dream husband or whatever. We all say that, and then every week that goes by, or even days that go by, or it doesn't happen by some certain time frame that we want it to happen, we get pissed off, we get resentful, we get angry, we get in self-pity. That's not surrendering to divine timing. We're basically saying to whatever higher power you believe in, the universe, spirit, God, whatever, you're basically saying, I don't trust you, I'm not in faith, and you're placing demands. And that doesn't go well. Imagine if someone was placing demands on you. You go try to place demands on someone in your life and see how that works. It usually doesn't work really well, but it kind of gives an illusion of control, because it's kind of like, well, if I just truly let it go and have faith and keep showing up and living my best life and doing the best I can and doing my part and all this stuff, and I'm just really surrendering, well, my God, isn't that a little too easy? Then that kind of almost makes it seem like I don't want it. It could even come across as like the lazy way out. No, you're making it way harder on yourself. You've got to trust that divine timing. But I wouldn't have, if you told me this shit even in my early 30s, I would have rolled my eyes in my head. Absolutely. I would have believed there was such a thing, but I would have started going, well, yeah, but you've also got to do this and get into action. And yes, of course, you do have to take action. You can't sit back and ask for things and not take the action and show up and be uncomfortable and do all the work. That would be called entitlement. But just because you do all the work, just because you're doing the posting, the emails, the program, hired the coach, joined the thing, showing up on video. Just because you do all of it doesn't magically mean your business turns in 30 days from you going from $2,000 a month to $30,000 a month. Sometimes it does. Divine timing. Sometimes it doesn't. Maybe there's more you have to learn. Maybe because you're placing such a need, like a needy desire, like a codependent, needy desire on it for you to, in order for you to keep going and feel good about yourself, you need proof it's working. You need. And you're saying that to the universe and to God. You're only pushing it further and further away because it's such a repelling energy. So you have to do whatever it takes to get in that time and keep saying to yourself, I'm doing the best I can on any given day, and take a true inventory if you are. Are you toe dipping in your business, or are you really going in? Or are you operating kind of safe and you're fooling yourself? Are you sitting on your couch eating white cheddar popcorn and never going out, and then being upset that you've not met any new people? That really doesn't make sense, does it? And it's a repelling energy. I can't stress this enough, and I have a story to go with it. It took me 10 years. I still can't fully comprehend that it took me 10 fucking years to start ProjectME, the podcast, and the business coaching brand after I got the idea from recovering from spine surgery. It's insane how fast time goes by. Like, how in the hell is it August already? What is happening? Oh, before I forget, because you're listening to this episode, technically yesterday I ended the pre-launch pricing for my 6-month ProjectME mastermind, which is $3,000 off as long as you apply before the deadline. And of course you still have to be accepted and approved into the mastermind because it is by application only. But since you're listening to this episode, this is last call. So you can swipe up, go into the show notes and apply. Make sure in your application and in at least one of the questions, you say that you listened to the August 1st episode, because then I'll still honor, if we decide that this is a great fit for you right now, I will honor the $3,000 off. I'll honor pre-launch pricing. And otherwise, you've missed the boat. It is already 50% full, and today is the first day we're actually launching it. I only offer this one time a year, and we are going to millionaire status. So this is for those of you who have already know what you're doing in your business. You feel confident in how you can help people and what you specialize in. You already make money doing it. But you want to go to that level. You want to be a millionaire. And there's no shame around it. You want to be a millionaire, not a thousandaire. You want to be a millionaire, and you want to do it without losing your mind, and you're tired of really trading so much of your time and energy to get money. You want to have additional passive income streams working for you while you're busy doing other things. So in this mastermind, we're focusing on structuring your business and creating systems and offers to scale you to $1 million status. It's actually very simple and straightforward to get to about $320, max $350,000 a year in your business. You can do that all on your own, maybe hiring like a contract person here and there to do some things for you. But it's actually really straightforward. But to go from that $300,000 mark, or even that for some people, that $200,000, $250,000 mark, to go from there to 7 figures, different story. That doesn't mean it's harder. It's a different strategy. It's a different setup. We've got to do offer stacking and the other things that I will be teaching you inside of this mastermind container. So swipe up. You can apply and see if this is a great fit for you. Again, you get $3,000 off as long as you mention the August 1st episode. And if you're like, God, I'm not sure, is this right for me? If you're really not sure and you want to ask me questions, then just DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. If that's what it's about. If you're having stuff come up in your head about money, like, God, I totally want to do this, but I'm sure it's a lot of money. Well, a lot of money, here's what a lot of money is. A lot of money is investing in something that doesn't work. A lot of money is continuing to waste your time and energy trying to figure shit out on your own, trying to kind of emulate what you see other people doing in your industry who are more successful than you and hoping it works. That's a lot of money. That's expensive. When you're wasting your time, energy, and life, you can never get that back. So investing in actually getting a system and getting my eyes, my dream team's eyes on your stuff, plus 15 other business owners, that full collective of people who I have hand selected to be in here, all with that creative energy, that insight, that support. It's set up so you can't fail. The only way you would fail would be by sabotaging it and not showing up. And that's just, it's not going to happen because I've designed it so that won't be that way. So I just want to make that lesson clear to you, because that is one of my lessons today, is don't look at things as expensive. Ask yourself different questions, right? What is this going to cost me energetically, physically, and mentally and financially if I don't do this? What's the cost factor of not learning these things? What's the cost factor here and the risk of not getting the support? So if you're going to be so focused on just monetarily what something costs, whether it's one of my programs or my mastermind or my private coaching, or it's a car or a house or a cleaning lady or a vacation, you owe it to yourself to look at the other side. Well, what is it going to cost me to not do this? What is it going to cost me to continue operating how I've been operating? What is it going to cost me, and what is it going to look like if I'm in this exact same spot I am right now 6 months from now? What is that? How is that going to impact me? How is that going to impact my family? How is that going to impact my bank account? So I want you to assess it differently. This is how millionaires and billionaires assess things. And that's also another thing that I am incorporating into this mastermind, is the shift in thinking that is needed to go to millionaire status. It is a different way of thinking, and anyone can implement it. It's a matter of someone giving you those shifts, teaching you those shifts, and holding you accountable so that they stick. So you have enough time so those stick in our wild brains. Do this with anything in your life. Maybe you're so fucking tired of your dishwasher because it leaks a little bit and makes a lot of noise every time you run it. And that it irritates you every time you run it. You get snippy with your significant other every time it's running. Then you're short with your kids if they don't load it a certain way, because then it leaks more, is more noisy if you don't load it the right way. So now you're always loading it. Well, it sounds to me there's a high cost factor there. And you're like, yeah, but a new dishwasher, Tiffany, I don't know how much they are. Even though I just did a major remodel. The remodel was so much money that I don't even know how much the dishwasher was. I don't know, probably a couple $1,000s. Let's say you get a fancy pants one. Let's just say it's $3,000. $3,000 of a dishwasher that makes no noise. It doesn't matter how you load it. It doesn't leak. And then you're not snippy to the people in your life. And you don't have to have that thought in your mind or that irritation. And it has a guaranteed warranty of 10 years. I would say that's worth spending even $3,000 for, don't you? That's what I mean by going through that. All right, back to my story. So it's insane how fast time goes by. Like, how in the hell is it August already? Seriously, I don't know what happened to July. It scares me. It's crazy. I'm not sharing this with you to put you in a panic, but you need a fire lit under your ass. We can always make money, but we can never get time back. And you've been wasting time, putting things off you dream of doing, having a life that brings you peace and freedom. Oh, you'll get back at it in the fall, back at it on Monday when the kids are older. Bullshit. Because then that day or that time comes and you have some other story. And it's exactly what I bought into before I knew this. And I wasted 10 years that I cannot get back. And this doesn't mean you have to adopt some all or nothing mentality. That doesn't mean that doesn't end either. You know, it's not like, oh, I have to do everything right now and quit my job and do that. No, you don't need to do that. but you need to take some action and work towards it. And if you aren't working towards your desired life, you're actually working against it. It's not neutral. That part is black and white. You're either taking actions towards the things that you desire in your life, or you're actually working against it, because doing nothing is an action. Taking no fucking action and doing nothing. By the way, trying equals doing nothing. Trying's bullshit. Trying is a nicer word that's manipulative for doing nothing. What does trying even mean? There's nothing concrete about trying. So if you're trying, you're doing nothing. If you're doing nothing, you're doing nothing. Those are actions. Those are choices. And you're working against your desired life because you're remaining neutral. You're not even taking a micro step forward. Just let that sink in for a moment. You've been settling for less, settling for good enough, settling for status quo. Well, let that stop today. When you show up for yourself, you can impact everyone around you. Even your energy shift will impact strangers. And when you don't, you also impact everyone around you. And let me tell you something. When I'm showing up for myself, when I'm taking care of my health and my business and my desires and luxuriating enough and feeding myself spiritually and all those things, when I'm doing that, I absolutely lift people's energies around me. I lift your energy through this podcast. And when I'm not, it also impacts everyone around you. You're cunty, you're exhausted, maybe you get sick, you're kind of down. It's a choice. And it all starts with you. Commit to stepping into your light. And the dimness may feel comfortable. Listen, I'm all about a good dimmer, but it's not lighting you up anymore. It's not really working for you anymore. It's comfortable, it's relaxing, but it's not getting you to where you want to go. If you were thrilled and you were happy with the dim life, that's okay, but you're not. So it's time to do something. Time to look at things differently. If you love this episode, take a 30-second moment to give me a 5-star review. You can do this on iTunes, Spotify, or both if you really want to make me happy. I read each and every review. This is what helps make the show grow. I tell you guys this on repeat because you keep telling yourself you're going to leave the fucking review and you don't. And it hurts my feelings. So go leave the damn review. And don't forget, this is truly your absolute last chance to be able to get the pre-launch pricing for my ProjectME 6-month mastermind experience of $3,000 off. Swipe up. The link to apply is in the show notes. If you feel called, if that is something that, for whatever reason, doesn't feel like your cup of tea, I have plenty of other ways to work with me that might feel better. There's just going to be nothing else like this, and it's only offered once a year. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.